Welcome to the Red V TV show, supported by Chapel House Cars for the 2025 season, as we continue our build-up to the new campaign. And with 13 days to go, Kevin.
It's time for our number 13. It's Morgan Knowles, and Morgan is sponsored by Lancashire Fire Solutions.
Lancashire Fire Solutions specialise in fire risk assessments for social housing landlords and residential care. They were established in 2009 with experienced, competent assessors that are not attached in any way to the contractors who install their products. So you're guaranteed to get an independent opinion. So for all your fire solution leads in Lancashire and around the Northwest, those are the guys to call. lancsfiresolutions.com. Right, Kev. We are filming this a couple of days before we put it out. We're not sat
Yeah,
here on Sunday morning doing it. We cannot start talking about Morgan Knowles on the pitch without talking about what is currently going on off it. Matt Shaw has come out in the press and said that Morgs is in talks with the Dolphins in Australia about a move down there for 2026. It's seemingly been backed up by the Dolphins CEO saying they have an interest in him. It, it it's hard to say that there's sometimes smoke without fire.
yeah. I think there's obviously something in it. There's obviously a decision to be made by Morgan. I know he spoke in the off season about wanting to get stuff sorted before the season starts. And if he was to stay at Saints for the rest of his career, that would be amazing, and he'd be really proud if he could do that. Um, it was reported his preference was to stay in the Red V, although I've not seen any actual quotes to kind of back that when I've been looking round. So I don't know if that was actually said or if it was the journal who's written it surmising from what Knowles has said and how he said it.
Apparently,
Um,
it is opening testimonial for him. He talked about wanting to stay at Saints for his
right,
entire career. Now,
okay, fair enough.
if things change in the next week or two, and it is announced that he's going to the Dolphins, some of them quotes are going to get pinned up and look a bit eggy, aren't they?
Yeah, they are. They're going to look disappointed. I think fans would rightly be uh, disappointed by him and are well within the rights to look at him and think, well, were these actually meant in the good faith that Morgan probably did mean him in? That he did want to stay for the rest of his career, but
I think is that the
uh,
important thing then, Kev? Like, is a week a long time in sport, and when he sat in front of a testimonial forum, or he gave his quotes to Mike Critchley in the St Helens Star in the run up to his testimonial, was the intention, assuming he does go, to stay at the club, but then the Dolphins come back with some sort of mind-blowing financial incentive offer, which is too hard, too difficult to turn down. And listen, a couple of years on the Gold Coast, and situations change.
they do. I think that's a good way of putting it. That a week is a long time in any sport, and things can change. The one thing that if you temper your disappointment, and listen, we'll be Saints fans long when this squad is all retired and we're coming through to bringing new players in and whatever players who may have just been born, may not have been born yet, and we'll be seeing them pull on Saints shirts. And you'll have that disappointment that somebody like Morgan may well leave or does leave, or someone like him will do in the future. But you've got to temper that with Morgan Knowles has got to do what's best for himself and his family. Um, he's got a little one that's a couple of days old as we film this. Um, I mean, we know what it's like to have little ones as well, don't we? So you know that you put them first and you put what quality of life you can give them first. Um, so while people will be disappointed, and I'll get it from a sporting point of view, if the Dolphins have come in and put an unbelievable offer that he's not going to get over here, he really isn't from anyone. Don't care how much money your backers got. You're just not going to get that offer. If someone gets that big money to go and experience life for the next 3, 4, 5 years, then fair play. The only thing I would say is if he comes back in a year or two and signs for that lot over the lump, Morgan, you're gone, mate. You're gone to me.
Yeah, and I think that is an important thing, isn't it? He could potentially go to Australia for a couple of years, earn what he would earn in the next five here if he was to stay. There's nothing to say you leave on good terms, you come back to Saints when you're 30, 31, and give us another couple of years. But it's 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 going to be hard to turn down a couple of years on the Gold Coast and test yourself. And it has to be said as well. Morgs has given us the best years of his career potentially. He's given us 10
Yeah,
years. He's got to his testimonial year. I do suspect if it is announced he's going, it's going to be a harder sell for some of these testimonial events he's got. But the financial loss he might take on some of the events, he's probably more than going to make up with in what he might well earn down under, if that is the case.
yeah. A couple of things with regards to that. I think to go back to the very start, you say him coming back at 30, 31. If he does leave at the end of next year, he'll be leaving age 29. So it's one of them that you'd look, he'd be going out there and he should be retiring out there. The second thing, with regards to the testimonials, you'd hope that fans see the testimonial events still as a celebration of what Morgan's given us as a player, rather than Morgan like moving on. If that is the case that he does end up going, that people see it as that. As we say, we're filming this beforehand. We don't know what's going to come out in the next couple of days, weeks, month, whatever it might be. But yeah, if it does turn out that Morgan goes, you'd hope that people can see what he's given to the club over that amount, over that past 10 years, what he's brought to the side, his leadership, his absolute rock solid display in defence. I'd get behind him for that cause rather than looking forward and thinking, well, he's leaving us now, so this doesn't matter.
And I think the frustrating thing for me here is this is going to be the first real example of these new rules about being able to talk to clubs a year in advance really coming to the fore. We should not be sat here in January talking about Morgan Knowles' contract in 2026. We should be looking forward ahead to this season and how he's going to perform in the Red V. Unfortunately, it's going to overhang the season. And listen, you'd hope that clubs would be able to have an agreement where, do you know what, things aren't discussed. There might well be deals done down the line and you keep it under wraps as long as possible. But then when you've got the Dolphins CEO gobbing off in Australia to the media over there, it makes it really hard for anything to be kept quiet. Um, and listen, some journalists wouldn't have the jobs if they didn't get these scoops. And fair play to them if it turns out to be um, the case.
Yeah, talking about another team's playing as openly as that. Listen, it happens. I think it shows the class of the people when they speak about him in certain terms. Um, but as we'll keep going back to it, that if the contract that has been put down in front of Morgan is one that he just cannot turn down, it doesn't matter if anyone's got any, I don't know, issues with it's all on Morgan, and Morgan needs to do what's right for him. Whether that is go over to Australia and deal with them over there, or whether it's a case of, you know what, I'll stay around my support network over here with my little one, and I'll continue at Saints for the rest of my career.
The frustrating thing here for me is I think Saints at some point need to get on the front foot. It can't be in a situation. We surely have to learn from previous years where
Yeah,
everybody in the town knew Sione was going home. Listen, if they've kept it quiet because they're trying to negotiate deals, fair, okay, that's the club's prerogative. Everybody knew Lewis Dodd was going long before he did. It seems like everybody in the town already knows this stuff and has come up and allowed it to develop into a story before the club have got a grip on it. and the negativity spirals. You only need to look at some of the forums at the moment. The negativity is spiraling already because we are losing control of the narrative.
Yes, you just want a little bit more control there, from all levels of the club there as well. It's not just down to like some individuals, like people will pin stuff on certain individuals within the club for different things. It's literally from the top down. This you've got to get hold of the narrative, and if Morgs is going, and it might happen. I don't know the day after we film this. It might happen the day this should go out. It might happen in another week or two's time. Saints have got to, as much as they can, control it, and just even if it is speaking to the Dolphins or whoever and just saying, just shut up a minute. And then we'll both do an announcement at the same time. But just give us a minute. Stop being so brazen about things. And we'll both do something that is mutually beneficial as much as it can be.
You almost feel like this is going to happen more and more in the future, and this is why we're now tying our players down long term. So if teams come up for them in the future, you at least get a fee for them.
Yes. Yeah, exactly right. Exactly right.
Right, okay. In terms of previewing Morgs for the season, great player, always reliable, future captain material for the Dolphins
Well,
or us. But there's not much we can say about him on the pitch because we've talked about him so much in his testimonial, and it's listen, we just hope that regardless now, this needs to be sorted one way or the other before the start of the season, and
yeah,
then we can park it and allow Morgs to concentrate on it on his season. And listen, he's a consummate professional anyway, and I'm sure he will know what he's doing in his own mind, and it won't affect his performances. What I hope is that the fans, if it does transpire that he's leaving, don't try and make him a whipping boy like they've done with previous players who were on the way out.
yeah, there was something in one of his interviews that before we knew we were going to end up talking about everything we have done for the past couple of minutes, that said, "I don't think I've been some of the fans' favourite player through my disciplinary issues," and I think that's a little bit unfair on himself. I think people have been frustrated because we haven't seen Morgan Knowles on the field because of his disciplinary issues. I don't think it's the fact people have hated him or thought that he's a terrible player. It's just a case of he plays on the edge that much that you do have those issues that creep in, and probably more often than not. My mind's taken back to Halifax in the Cup,
Go,
where
go watch the video of me losing my head after that game
yeah,
for Morgs getting sent off with 10 seconds left in a game that was already run. And I've gone mental at it because we were going to miss him for games that we needed. In,
yes, and that's the issue. It's not that people hate him as a player. It's not that people don't like him. It's that people aren't going to see him on the pitch when we need him. And as I say, his leadership, his defensive ability, the fact that as a as a forward unit, we are better with Morgan Knowles in it than we are with Morgan Knowles sat in the stand, not injured, sat in the stand because of something he's done like that. You just think, mate, it's not that. We love you as a player,
there's no,
and as you
there's
say,
no conversation. So, like, how many Saints players, when they are fit, would you say there's not even a discussion about whether they should be in the team? Jack Wellesby,
yeah, Percy.
Percy. But even Percy, some will argue that he doesn't stay fit enough.
I thought you said when they're fit enough, they're still
Sorry,
in the team.
but okay, yeah, okay. But there's still question marks over Percy at times, isn't there? From some fans.
No, probably yeah, but I thought, are we not going our own?
No, no, I'm talking like from some fans. I would say universally, if Morgan Knowles
Okay,
is fit, there's not even a jot of conversation of whether he should be your 13 or not.
fair enough. I wouldn't have thought Percy wasn't in that, but okay, yeah, I think well, no, because you say that, and we hear people saying that they'd rather have James Bell at 30.
Just wipe my arguments out the water. And I would also say those people are wrong.
But if you look at it, in my opinion, Jack Wellesby, yeah. Mark Percival, yeah.
Yeah,
Matty Lees, yeah. Curtis Sirenen, yeah. Morgan Knowles, yeah.
maybe
And
maybe Darrell Clark.
yeah, Daryl Clark's one of them that I think you say yeah because he is a
Yeah,
hooker out and out, but I think because he's only been here a year, it's a case of I'm not going to include him just yet. But yeah, there's an argument for Daryl Clark as well.
yeah. And we're gonna lose. Oh well, yeah, we're potentially gonna lose one. But right, this has not been a Morgan Knowles 2025 preview.
It's been like a show, hasn't it? Really?
It's been a show, but do you know what? It's timely. It does its job.
Yeah,
Don't forget to tune in to a Red V special Monday evening where we will be discussing Morgan Knowles' contract extension.
nailed on.
We can only react to what's out there.
Yeah, you know what? That would be just so we've just spoke about him going, and it'll be like yeah, Saints announced him on a new 5 year
Listen,
contract.
listen. You've as much as it's looking like it's going that way. So did Jack Wellesby.
Yeah, arguably so. Yeah,
So never say never.
I'm less confident about this one.
Me too. We'll see. Right, we're back tomorrow. Catch you soon.